Hi, Paul here. Welcome to this short video on healing the ancestors. And we're going to have a look at it just to try to explain to you our perception or our insight into what the ancestors mean to us and who they are. So here we go. Who are our ancestors? We'll just look at it very briefly and we'll see can we establish who they are. Why are they important to us? What do they mean to us now, even though that they're past? Do we need to heal the lineage of the ancestors? Do the traumas and the hurts and the energies that the ancestors carried in the past, do they affect our lives now? How can we help them? How can we help to release them, to send them home if we know or are aware that they are trapped within the energy of this realm? Just a few little stories of experiences I had of healing with the ancestors and things I come across when I'm doing my work and how to connect with them. We do a little meditation at the end just to get you to connect with an ancestor. You might want to connect with a father, a mother, grandfather, grandmother, distant relation, to check with them and see how they're getting on in the thing. That's it. And then we'll say thank you. Who are our ancestors? My teacher was Peter von Mantis, Sangoma, and very big in the lineage of the South African teachings, and in the work that you do, a lot relates back to the ancestors. Basically, the ancestors are our male line. When we talk about our male line, we talk about our name. For example, my male ancestors would be of the O'Halloran clan. So I am aligned to the ancestors of my father, of my grandfather, great-grandfathers, and the lineage that goes back the whole way. But also you're related or connected to the energies of your mother's line. My mother's name was Barrett. Her maiden name was Barrett. So I'm connected to the energies of the Barretts. They would be my ancestors on my connected with the female line, going back, her father, her mother, her grandfathers, grandmothers, great-grandfathers, grandmothers, and so on, as they go back through the generations. Then also, in the middle, I believe we have what we call the miscellaneous ancestors. And these are the ancestors who have been our fathers and our mothers in different lifetimes. And sometimes they appear to us. You know, some people would say, oh, I have a spirit guide coming behind me. It's an Indian, or it's from India, or it's from Alaskan, whatever. Lots of times that could be an ancestor. That was your father, mother, grandfather, grandmother who could have walked with you in another lifetime. Has come back to help you and to teach you in this lifetime. So, you know, they can work like that. So the ancestors is very important to be connected to them. It's your male line, your female line, your miscellaneous line. Out of line ancestors, when we talk about the ancestors, usually when we look at a person, we can see the male ancestors stand on one side, female energy stand on another side. Sometimes the energies from one side can be mixed up so that they can be out of line in the wrong place. So it's just a matter of changing them around. Why are they important to us? They're our blood and bones. We carry their energy, their DNA, we carry that lot in the bones. I believe the bone structure of the body is also, it carries the memory. We carry the memory of our ancestors, be it good or be it bad. Sometimes when there's stuff that has gone back in the ancestral line, you'll often hear saying someone, you know, in the line, the grandfather, grandmother, great-grandfather, grandmother, you know, may have suffered from depression. Someone in this family is suffering that now. And I have no doubt that is a big influence on us today. But not alone on us today. It's because it's our bloodline, and it's important to heal it. It'll carry on into the next bloodline of our children, our children's children. We carry their memory, we carry their imprint, as I said. We wouldn't be here without them. It took many, many ancestors and many, many generations and many, many lineages to create us to who we are here today, and to help us to be who we are. So we owe them a lot. We're very, very grateful. Yeah, someone can come in as our spirit guides, our power animals, not power animals, spirit guides. They can be our teachers, or they can be our guardians. They can work with us in that way to help us to be who we are. And they walk with us, and when they walk with you, you're covered. Nothing is going to happen. They're really, really there to help you. They've got your back. And there's also, we'll be looking at it in a little while. Why do we need to heal their lineages? Sometimes they're earthbound. That means that they haven't crossed over. And lots of times when they're earthbound, they can be attached to relations. Sometimes a father may go, he may hang on because he's a strong attachment to his son or to his daughter, or maybe even to his wife. So he stays in this energy, in this place, and he doesn't move on. So sometimes we need to move them on, to help them to move on. Lots of times I notice sometimes when I move in an ancestor, like a father or a mother, as they had an attachment to someone, and sometimes the person that they attached to, in a way, if that person has been grieving a lot for them, it seems sometimes that ancestor will stand with them. They don't cross over, they'll be with them. But sometimes then, maybe a year or two after they go, the person will end up coming to someone like me and say, I'm feeling these pains, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. You'll see an ancestor standing behind them. And invariably, if you ask them, what did the ancestor die of in some way, they're picking up the symptoms, the aches and pains could be. It's not always the case, could be actually symptoms from the ancestor standing within their energy field, because everything, you'll pick it up and sense it. When I talk about out of line ancestors, what I'm talking about, the male stands on the right, the female stands on the left. The energies of the father line is on the right, the female line stands on the left. The thing. Sometimes it could be an ancestor could be confused, could be from one line or the other and standing in the wrong place. It's just, when you're walking down the lines or checking the lines, it's easy enough to detect it. You feel the energy of it. Also, they need healing because the traumas can be alive in them. Lots of times, there can be where a spirit going back through your ancestral lineage can still be trapped in a space because of a trauma, of a hurt, of something that happened where they were killed and their energy is still alive there, or there was a very bad hurt where they were pushed out of society, maybe rejected in some way, and maybe had a child that they weren't supposed to have, and all these different things. So that pain and that energy and that stuff is still alive within the person, within the thing, but it's also alive in the lineage in some way. It can manifest in sickness, it can manifest in some mental stuff or in pain that you can't put your finger on, but it's there. So that's the trauma, and the memories would be the same. Now, curses work that way too, because there could be a curse put on the lineage of the family going back even a couple of 100 years. It could be put on the name of the family. And if it's put on the name of the family, it means that name will carry that all the way down till the energy is broken. And invariably, sometimes I've found, sometimes people marry into a family, and they may bring bad luck with them. They may bring a curse with them. The curse could be on them. But when they come into that place and into that family, they bring that energy with them. So sometimes it doesn't directly align with the lineage of the ancestors, but it can be brought in from another ancestral energy, and it can trigger down that line in many different ways. Yeah, learned this one myself. When we work with the ancestors come to work with us, and they're there. There can be any amount of them with us anytime they walk with us. They're there to connect with us. They're there to help us, to heal us, to teach us. As I said, they can be your teacher, your guardian, your spirit guide. Now, it's very important when I talk about spirit guides or guardians that come to work with you, an ancestor. The ancestor may come for a specific time to teach you something. And when that time is over, it's time for that ancestor to go. Sometimes, same with a spirit guide, sometimes what happens with people, they're less inclined to let the spirit go. They want to hold on to it because they're comfortable with it. A couple of things happens in that space. First of all, your energy becomes stagnant. You're not able to move on. And number two, other guides or other spirits or other ancestors that want to come to teach you something new are afraid to come down because they're afraid they'll be trapped in that space and that energy. And that guide that's standing there with you, that you're holding on to, maybe he has to go. He has to go to teach another relation something. Or maybe it's time for that person to reincarnate. So all these things working away. Also, if you work with the ancestors, they come in groups and blocks to work with you. And I always ask them to come at a higher vibration than I'm at so that they can pull me up to the next vibration. Now, sometimes, having said that about releasing spirits or guides or ancestors, what can happen with the ancestor sometimes, the ancestor gets comfortable in that energy, even though his job is done and he doesn't want to leave. So what it can actually do is pull your vibration down. So every now and again, I do a little ceremony or a little gathering or a get together with the ancestors. And I say to them, thank you so much for the work you've done. Those that you're finished, you have permission to go now. And I release you back to where you came from. And you can feel them go because you've connected to the awareness of them, and you brought them into that energy. And then I asked the ancestors, other ancestors that are needed to come in at this time and this stage, and please come at a higher vibration so you can bring me to the next level and help me to evolve in whatever way I can. Now, when you're calling the ancestors, calling the angels, calling anything from the realms, I always call them from the seventh dimension and higher. I demand that the ancestors that love me and that are in heaven are seventh dimensional energy higher. Please come and work with me now. Teach me what I need to know or help me in whatever aspect need to be helped. So that's important because there are ancestors out there that don't like you. There's ancestors that don't want to work with you, but if you loosely call them in, you're going to be calling some people in against their will. And believe you me, all you want is the people that love you and that want to work with you. Peeling back the layers and letting the gifts shine, that's really healing the lineage of the line so that there's all the traumas, all the stuff, all the curses, all the imprints, all the entrapments, all the people that are caught in your lineage are all cleared so that everyone can breathe and that the energy can flow. So that's what we do. So how do we release the ancestors? Very simple. If you're aware of an ancestor that's around you, and that's sometimes when I'm traveling, I can feel my father in the car. He used to smoke an cigarette, and I can feel the puff of the tobacco. But my father's released and he's gone on to other places. But every now and again he pops in. And every now and again when I'm driving the car, I can feel or sense them in the back of the car. They just come in and come for the spin, which is okay. But I know that they're released. But, to release an ancestor or a grandfather or a thing is very, very simple. So what you need to do is you just say, I call on the ancestors of this ancestor, whoever your ancestor is, that are in heaven, seventh dimension or higher, to please come and take whoever the person is, my ancestor, home to their proper place in the universe. When we say proper place in the universe, wherever they need to go, we're not God. The ancestors will know to bring them to that place. And the reason we call on an ancestor to bring them, it can be a father, be a mother. I just call on the ancestor that's in heaven or higher vibration, seventh dimension energy or higher, to come. Because when they see someone that's coming from a place of love to them, be it a brother, sister, wife, husband, father, or mother, they'll walk to them, they'll go with them. It happens like that. And if you call on the angels lots of times, these people are stuck for a reason. It's because maybe they feel guilty about something. Maybe they have a connection to something, which we'll be looking at in a few minutes. And when someone of love comes, they go invariably. Very, very rarely they don't go because they love that person and that person loves them. There's no fear of judgment, and they go to their proper place in the universe. Okay. The famine story it's just an awareness story, really. I just want to tell you, because how I became aware of famine energy was by working on the land and meeting the famine people. And when you meet them, they're soulless people. There's nothing in them. They just walk. They don't look at you. Their clothes are grey, and you can see the clay kind of in the crevices of their clothes. It's just, they're so off the earth and in the earth. The only difference of they're not being in the earth, that they're just barely walking on it. But you can feel the misery, you can feel the pain, the destitute, and absolutely, I call them soulless people. Absolutely soulless. And they just keep walking. And how does this happen? Well, during the famine, and there was more than one famine in Ireland, and this is just one thing. They would walk from one place to another to get the food. And when they'd be walking, a lot of the times, a lot of these people died. So their spirit kept walking, or their soul kept walking along that path. So lots of times these become known as spirit lines. And they keep reenacting that energy all the time till someone like us comes along and helps to clear that line and to bring them home and to bring them to heaven. That's just just when I've come across countless energies of famine in Ireland in particular. This is just the man of the land story. I get this in lots of places. What you find is sometimes you're asked to go to do a farm. The energy in the place is not running as smooth as it should be, and little stupid things are happening and breaking down and all this kind of things. Some of the time, not all of the time, there can be other factors in work as well, but some of the time what actually happens in this energy is this. An ancestor, say a father or grandfather that owned that land, put everything he had into it. He hands it over to his son. He hands it over but doesn't hand it over, if you know what I mean. When he dies, he has such an attachment to the land and to the place. He holds on to that land and onto that place. And then when the son or whoever's running that place is trying to do a bit of work on it or change things, sometimes there's resistance from the ancestor, the grandfather or the father. What's he doing? This is my land. I don't want this done. It doesn't work, blah, 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 blah. And there can be little bits of, let's say, the energy don't flow. Lots of times when we connect with them, they move on pretty easy. But it's just because of their attachment to the land and to the place. The same thing with the woman of the house, the Banan Chi, I call them, the Faran Talav is the man of the land. Again, an ancestor, a woman, lots of times you'll get this. And sometimes you'll get an ancestor on the land that could be there for 200 or 300 years going back. But the woman of the house would be, where a spirit of a woman would be there, and she would have been, she would have either owned that house or married into that house and would have an attachment to it. And when the time comes to cross over, her spirit stays there. So the other woman that comes in, or the people in the house, sometimes never feel the house is theirs. And again, it's like the man on the land, the energy would be off. There's no flow, and kind of things that keep going wrong, and the energy wouldn't be right, because this one would be, this is my place, what are they doing here? And all that kind of thing. So it's more or less the same as the land. Oh yeah, one of my favorites, this happened a long time ago up in Infield, and I've probably told the story hundreds of times and you're sick of hearing it, but anyway, I think it's a good one. I was doing a house for a guy up in Elfin up in Roscommon, and the spirit, his father was sitting at the range still at the fire, and still there in that space. So, you know, we were kind of connected with him, and he would start shouting to me about the tractor, tell him about the tractor, tell him about the tractor. The energy of the tractor was that he was the first man in Elfin to own a tractor. And the son said, yes, he's still talking about that tractor. But, you know, so that was the memory and the imprint, and the stuff was still there with them. And lots of times we can feel them around us. But when we move them on, they can always come back, but they're free to come and go. But when they're trapped within the energy of the dimensions here on the earth, they need someone to help them to go and to move on. The little girl Annie was a little girl that I met one night. I was doing a house clearing. It was, I'll never forget it, was a room full of furniture. People were ready to move house somewhere else, but and she reminds me a little bit of that little girl there that's on the thing. She had long blonde hair. She was actually wearing a blue raggy dress. She was from, I'd say, the 1940s or 1950s, but to me she was a real tomboy. She was just one of those kids that loved to get and just cuddle and all these kind of things. You know, she was just beautiful little girl. Never forget her. Anyway, I was scanning the room and I was cleaning the energy in it, and the next thing I heard this voice, what about me, what about me? So I said, okay, come here. So we did, and we moved her on, and didn't hear from that little kid again for maybe a month or 6 weeks. So I was in another place down in County Clare somewhere, and I forget where in County Clare. I was working away, doing the thing, and again, moving some spirits. There she appeared in front of me. And she said, Paul, get my sister, get my sister, get my sister. So I cleared her sister, got her sister, and we got her home. Her sister was only 5 or 6. She was younger than her. Now, I don't know the story of what happened to him, but she was like a little girl, a ghost that was stuck with an ancestor, but she came back also to help to heal her own line in a way, and the lineage of the thing. She ended up working with me for about 2 or 3 years. Every time I went into a place to do the work, she would come and she would help me to clear the spirits, as I would call them, the ancestors of that place. So I haven't seen her in a long time now. She hasn't come to me. She's probably reincarnated again, or she's involved in another place and another spirit, but she was doing good work. They're just little stories that I'm just letting you know about, very simple stuff that you can encounter with the ancestors and the attachment on the land. Now, sometimes it's not all about attachment on the line. Sometimes it's fear-based. They're afraid to go because, like any ghost, they're afraid that they're going to be judged, and they'd rather sit in this place, or they have attachment to a person, like I said earlier on, a relation or someone. But how do we connect with them? The intention is to connect with those in heaven and that love us, as I said before. Now, see, we've moved into 5th dimensional energy. We used to always call on the 5th dimensional energy to help us, but I always call on the 7th dimensional energy to connect with. So I asked the spirits, the ancestors that are in heaven, are 7th dimensional energy or higher, please come and work with me. And the key thing is, I said earlier on, is love, that they love you and that they want to work with you. They all don't want to work with us because they could have other agendas and things. So what we're exercising here, in a way, when we make that statement, I call on my ancestors that are in heaven or seventh dimensional energy or higher to please come and work with me now, especially those that love me. So you're exercising free will to your ancestors to come and to work with you. So, you can try that. And what we will just do now is just to finish off with a short meditation for you to connect with an ancestor. Okay. So what you need to do is just to sit or lie and listen to my voice and just close your eyes. And just breathe in through the nose. And as you do, bring the breath up your back and down your front as you breathe out. And as you do this, just check in on your body to relax. Call on your guides, your guardian animals, your power animals, your ancestors that are in heaven, and all the spirits that love you to be around you to guide you on this beautiful little journey. And as you sit there now, start to relax and let go. State the intention of, if there's a father, mother, grandfather, grandmother that you would like to connect with. And you just say, I'm going now to the garden of love and peace to connect with my father, my mother, my grandfather, my grandmother, whoever it is. And you just say it 4 times, but you're actually doing the stating the intention to the 4 directions. And you're also letting the spirit of your ancestor know that you're on the way, you're giving them notice. So when you have that done again, you just breathe. And now, I just want you to go to a safe place in nature, be it at the bottom of a tree, by the sea, sitting on a rock on a mountain, just in a garden bench somewhere you feel safe, feel secure. Just be aware of your guardians, your spirits, your protectors, and all the energies that love you being with you. And maybe ancestors, if there's any, want to walk with you with this. I want you to feel the ground beneath you, the air, the sun, the wind on your skin. Just as you breathe out. All you need to do is be. Just let my voice guide you. Just be. Feel the chair. Now I would like you to stand up in your power place. And as you look to the left, you will see a little path lead up over a little hill. Grassy path, stony path, sandy path. Whatever it is, it is. As you walk up this green little hill, right to the top. The sun is strong, the sky and it's bright. Not a cloud, is absolutely beautiful. As you walk down the other side, down into the little valley. Kind of hot and sticky here, but it's still beautiful. And now you will notice a wall in front of you. There's a gate, a white gate. The gate is open. I want you to walk through the gate into this beautiful garden and follow the path down into the middle of the garden. Smell the roses, the flowers, the bees, butterflies. As they go about their work as you walk down this beautiful path. Just feel your heart opening more and more. The love come from it. And as you look to the right, you'll see a bench. I want you to make your way over to the bench. At the bench on your right, you will sit on it. It's surrounded by roses, yellow, red, whatever color, white, whatever color you feel. Sit in the middle of the bench. Feel the connection. And as you look across, you should see the ancestor sitting on the opposite bench. Just open your heart with love. You'll either sense it, feel it, see it. Send love to your ancestor. And now in your mind's eye, you can talk. See, are they happy? Are they okay? Is there anything you can do for them? And ask them, is there anything you can do for that they can do for you? And now, just thank the ancestor. Wish him well till you see him or her again, so that they can go back to their proper place in the universe. Always when you're working with ancestors and guides, always when you're finished with them, release them back to where they came from. If you need them, they'll come to you again, but you're freeing up their time. No attachment to them. And now as you get up at the bench, you turn to your left. And you walk with your power animals, your guides, your spirits, or if there's ancestors with you, back out along the path. Till you come to the gate. Please close it now. It was open for you. Walk along the valley as you start to ascend up that beautiful hill. The sun is still high in the sky and it's shining and it's beautiful. up over the top and down into the power place where you started. Thank your guides, your ancestors, the spirit of the person that came to you, and all the archetypes that worked with you. Wish them safe home till you meet again. Now just jiggle your fingers and your toes and just come back into your body in the room. Just think about it for a few minutes. So I hope that will help you to connect with an ancestor. Sometimes that's lovely to do because sometimes we have issues with them and they've been unresolved and we've never had a chance to connect with that ancestor to say sorry, or for them to say sorry to us. And sometimes that's all it needs to help us to move on and them to move on in a way. So please exercise that and see if it can help you. And just, if you look at our website, you'll see the ancestral workshops when they're on. More than welcome. And I want to thank you for taking the time out to watch this short video that we did on healing or connecting with the ancestors. I hope I answered some of your questions and brought some awareness to you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Till we meet again.